Okay. Yes, sir. Listen, we gonna have to go in and cut that shit out at some point. I'm gonna have to do some serious editing. Motherfucker. All right, let's get it, baby. Check it out. What I was talking about was this. Subriel Matias and Sasa have been going back and forth on the internet, right? So Sasa comes out and he starts telling, you guys heard the recording and everything, right? And I kind of wanted to break this down just a little bit and a little bit of Latin, just for that my Latin viewers catch a little bit too, right? And you guys remember when Salsa said something slick to Subriel, right? And in the midst of everything, he said something slick to him, and Subriel said something slick to him back. It went something like this, right? Salsa tells him, he says to him, he says, ¿Cómo fue? Él le dijo, si el hijo mío te pelea en la casa de tu mai, en la yarda de tu mai. Y Subriel vino y le dijo, oye, chico, no diga eso, que yo no quiero que ustedes salgan de ahí prendido, ¿verdad? So when he said that, right, Salsa heard that in the moment, but he really didn't say shit, right? So Subriel, and then they kept going on the interview. Sasa goes on later and he makes an interview himself. And he says that now that he feels like Subriel le manazó la vida. And he's saying like he was saying it with like they was going to shoot him up, right? And I was like, bro, I didn't take it like that. I said, listen, first of all, if Salsa's going to say something slick to you and you guys are in an interview and he say something slick back to you, how the fuck you going to take that and then go somewhere else, right, with it? If you felt some kind of way in the interview, I felt like he could have been like, hold up, what'd you say? And if he would have been a man about it to correct it right there. But what he did was he went later and made another video, right? So I said, I was like, wow, that's some fuck shit right there, right? Because if 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 you wanted to get Subriel Matias' attention, you got it. There's no more you need to say. Really taking this thing and taking it to another level, we all got to punch for our brakes because he's actually fighting somebody else. He's fighting Liam. I understand that he's campaigning for a fight for his son, but at some point, his son's going to have to answer for everything his father said. You see, his father's talking shit, but not only is he talking shit to poke the bear, but he's also talking shit about Puerto Ricans and other shit you really don't need to be talking about, right? So every time he says something slick, Matias says something slick back. He told him to go wash cars and shit like that. I found that kind of funny, right? So, but homeboy didn't. So Salsa still wants to stir things up. Listen, my point is this. I said this in my interview. Mira, if you want to really fight for a world title, I think that Salsa is being petty about the dollar amount. Whether he feels that it was offensive to him or not, the one thing that he should have had his eye on was that IBF title. And if you really want to be a champion in this game, it's hard enough to get any champion to sign up to fight you. So when a champion agrees to fight you, shut your mouth, nigga, right? And just be like, yo, all right, we be fighting, right? He's taking this and he's bringing it to a whole new level. I get where he wants to go with this, but he has to understand that Subriel Matias has a fight in Puerto Rico first. When he gets past that guy, then he can spin the block and handle your son. Now, I admit, I told Sasa, I said, listen, it wasn't going to take much to get Subriel Matias' attention. No one's calling him out. When they're talking about, oh, he's not the best 140-pounder, at what bar are you setting it? Who are you measuring that against? Show me proof that there's a better 140-pounder out there. I'll wait. There's no 140 decorated champion. Each champion only has one title defense. And your son only has one fight at 140. So how is he better decorated? How? I don't get it. So I was saying to myself, look, if you wanted this fight, you got it. You see, there's 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 a fight in Puerto Rico right now, June 15th, and I feel like once he gets past that, probably Rivera's next in line. I've already heard of Subriel Matias today. He's going to be starting his training camp in Texas. They're going to be out there. There's a couple guys that probably go out there and talk more leading up into the fight. I know Subriel Matias is a professional. Once he locks in training camp, he's going to go radio silence, and you're not going to really hear anything on this guy. Sasa has said a lot of things, and his son is going to have to back this up for what the old man said. I get selling a fight, but there's levels to this on selling the fight, and you don't have to act like the man said he was going to shoot you. Saliendo de ahí prendido with a bit, like prendido, like I lit you up with the fist. You know what I mean? And I think he took it a different way. But you can't say something slick to somebody and somebody say something slick to you back and then you wait for later to respond on it. Nah, if you was a real one, you would have told them right then and there. Hold up, what you mean by that? Because you don't let shit like that go by you, you know? So, that's me. Anyway, so I felt like that. But as far as, you know, Subriel right now, I feel like, look, uh, Salsa and them out of their camp, they said enough. They said enough. It seems like they got my man's attention. Um, it seems like if he's victorious in Puerto Rico against Liam, that it looks like that fight might just be happening. Another fight that I saw that on the radar that I didn't really think that, it sounded crazy when they announced it was one time Keith Thurman against Tszyu. One time Keith Thurman suffered an injury. He pulled out of the fight. The fighter that they got for the replacement is their towering inferno, Findora. They got him as a replacement. He was actually on the card. He was going to fight another fight on that same card, and they just um, put him to the main event. That's all they did because the Tower Inferno, he was going to fight on that card on that night anyway. Yeah, he was on the card, so he just got moved up to the main event. Rolly's gonna fight on that card. Isa Pitbull Cruz is gonna fight on that card. Um, and then Findora was gonna fight on the card. So he's in the main event. Look, somehow, some way, one time Keith Thurman found a way to get out of the event. He wasn't happy anyway that he wasn't getting crack at the belt. He tried forcing the WBO's hand by like building the fight. He felt like if he built this fight on the night and he won, he stood to win nothing. And Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford probably weren't going to fight him, and he saw that it was a lose-lose for him. And all of a sudden, he got an injury when he didn't need to put his nose in that business on the first place. He didn't belong there, and he then went and did all this shit and to move. And now, what's the guy that was gonna fight the Tower in Fendoro? Where is he left? You know, he's brave. He was gonna fight anyway on that night. It's not like he's coming in Fedora, the towering Fedora to fight Tim Tszyu. Check it out. Guys, it wasn't like he's coming on like 10 days notice. It's not like he didn't have a training camp. Okay, yes. We might have not like prepared to fight um Tim Tszyu. Like his training camp might not have been developed. Yeah, that's true, right? But a fighter's a fighter. And neither did Tim Tszyu prepared for him, and the listen, that guy got a lot of attributes. Look, I know he doesn't fight tall like he is. He his attributes and chooses to fight it that's much shorter and shorter reach and opportunity. This I don't know, man. I don't know who his coach is or what they can't convince him. But look. Listen to his his stats, right? Check it out, right? Okay, he has 20 fights, 13 knockouts, one loss, and the one loss he got knocked out. Okay, he is 26 years old. He's 6'5.5". 6'5.5". He's like 6'6", basically. He's got an 80-inch arm reach. An 80-inch arm reach. He can hit you from halfway across the ring, right? Fucking 80 inches, bro. That's ridiculous. He's 6'5", bro. Yo, he's ridiculous, man. Oh my God, bro. And he got knocked out by Brian Mendoza, is the guy that knocked out the Towering Inferno, right? So I don't know how to call that fight, bro. Him suing him, I have no idea, bro. I have fucking no idea. Because if he fought the way I would like him to fight, he might beat Tim Tszyu. He could. I mean, if Tim Tszyu couldn't fucking get close in on him, imagine Tim Tszyu would break him down like a fucking tree. He's gonna snap this Towery Inferno in half. Is what's gonna happen. Tim Tszyu, he's gonna go in on the inside with Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu's a much stronger puncher than that. Oh, as a matter of fact, didn't Tim Tszyu just beat up that Mendoza kid? That Brian Mendoza? Yeah, that's who he beat up. Tim Tszyu. And he punished him. The Brian Mendoza kid, what he lacked in that fight, in fact, against Tim Tszyu, was punching power. That he didn't have enough pop in his punch to back Tim Tszyu up in that fight, in fact. And he knocked the Tower Inferno, rolled the fuck out. If Brian Mendoza can knock out the Towering Inferno and Brian Mendoza didn't have enough pop to keep Tim Tszyu off of him, what do you think Tim Tszyu's gonna do to this fucking yo? You're about to see a 6'6" skinny ass dude get knocked the fuck out like this. Yo, I think he's gonna hit him with a body shot and I think he's gonna end him with a body shot. Tim Tszyu's body shots are vicious. He's gonna hit him with a few body shots. He's gonna wear on him. I don't know, maybe eighth, ninth round, somewhere around there. I think the Tower Inferno will be a big puzzle to solve first. Um, I think he'll give him problems, and then Tim Tszyu will figure him out. He's gonna figure him out, and then he'll have him knocked out. Jesus Christ, guys. Yo, I just think that Keith Thurman saw that it was a lose-lose for him at the end and he found a way out. He wasn't gonna do anything. Listen, let me tell you guys something, man. This guy literally got off his couch. Let me tell you, he hasn't fought 5 times he's fought 5 times since 2013. Keith Thurman. He has 5 fights since 2013. You gotta be kidding me, bro. If you guys didn't see this shit coming, I didn't believe it when it was fucking announced. And Las Vegas gave him an 8-1 um underdog just to keep him in the fight, to see if they can get him there on fight night. That the odds were so like, big. And he didn't even make it to the fight. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, Fendora's gonna get paid to save the night in the event. He's definitely gonna get paid right for this knockout, but I don't think he can beat Tszyu at all, and not unless he. Every time we see our fighter, we expect to see a better version of that fighter. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna win at all. No. But anyway, listen, fight fans. That shit fucked me up, bro. That the mic was fucking off. The better half of this fucking video. I'm fucking pissed about that shit, right? But you know, you can't let shit like that fuck up your concentration, I guess, right? Those are all tests in life. So I think, look, some of this back and forth with Subriel and everything, we have some more videos that are gonna be coming out. And I know that personally today, Subriel called today, and he's gonna be headed out to Texas. So I know that he wants to like lock in on this training camp with Liam, and after that, it's gonna be pretty much radio silence. So he wants to see if this right here, what Subriel is doing in this thing is that he's a type of man with of like street respect, and if you say something about me in the streets, you're gonna have to answer for that. So Bria's not the really type of man that he's starting to get how YouTube and shit talking works, and he has to work with that. With all shit talking that comes out of that man from PR, like he's about that life. And those shells in the back of his shoulder tell the story that he's lived that life. If you say something you out of your mouth, well, then you're gonna have to answer to it. But at the same time, he's not that type of man anymore. He's a professional boxer that is trying to carry himself at a professional standard. And then all of a sudden, you're starting to say things about him he doesn't understand. Why? And in recent like years, in the past years of Subriel Matias, he had that tragic accident. So he's real sensitive when it comes to topics, and especially when you're talking about him. And then all of a sudden, the Rivera camp knew exactly what buttons to press. And right away, they pressed that button. They got his attention. Not everybody that is saying they want to fight, not everybody that's, some of them are crying wolf. I talked about this earlier, that Shakur Stevenson. I'm from North New Jersey and I love me some Shakur Stevenson, but I can't let him get away with this. I just can't. You know, I you, you're not going to convince me that you're yelling at Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia right now and wanting to fight Devin Haney when he offered you not once but twice a shot for 4 belts. But yet, now that Devin Haney's not in your weight division and he moved up, meaning you would have to move up. Now all of a sudden you want to fight him? Nah, brother. Nah. It doesn't work that way. You don't get to ride on their coattails. Ryan Garcia is going through his own shit. They got their own debacle, right? And then that opens the door for Oscar De La Hoya and to try to like put his fucking fighter on him. William Cepeda. And like Tim Tszyu needed just to stay out of that business. That wasn't his affair. Just keep your nose out of it. But you know how these fighters are. Whenever they ain't doing nothing, let me see what's going on out there. Say something about it, get shit going. It's easy. People eat it up, And, but I know it's fake. And when you do some fake shit like that, like Shakur, man, I'd rather you just concentrate on your shit. I looked up Shakur Stevenson's name and it has an event for him in New Jersey. And on the side of it, it says to be determined. He doesn't have a fighter. So come on, man. Stay out of other people's affairs, you know? Just let them rock out. And then another thing that the old man Sasa said that, you know, and that I don't know who the fuck this dude is, bro. I don't even know why I even like comment on his shit, right? Because homeboy's fake as fuck. Um, what's his name, man? Some punch drunk dude there on. He's pissing me off because his narrative is that he keeps screaming that Subriel Matias hasn't did anything at the 140. And I'm just like, bro, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers don't lie. Just look up all the current champions at 140 pounds and look at everyone's activity. Who's been at the 140? Subriel Matias has fought the more fights at 140 than any of them by leaps and bounds. So how the hell are you saying that he hasn't fought anybody? It's incredible. I'm just like, Rolly got one fight, one title fight. Teofimo Lopez got one title fight, and Devin Haney got one title fight. The only person that got more 140-pounder fights in the division is Subriel Matias. There's no other fighter in there that got more fights at that level right there. This, but yet he hasn't done anything. It's just ridiculous, bro. If you let them tell it, they'll paint you a pretty picture. But all I say is go to Boxing Record and look for yourself. It's you. The only kid right now that I see that I would have took for Subriel was that Elvis kid. And I think, to be honest with you, I don't think he was ready for Matias. I don't, I think you should give that Elvis kid a few more fights before you put him in front of a, look, the problem when you put against fighters against a fighter like Subriel Matias, as a coach, you got to think about this. Win, lose, or draw, the damage that your fighter's going to take against a fighter like that, is it worth the risk? You see, even if you win the fight, he's not getting out of that ring without he's gonna be in a fucking battle. So are you willing to put your fighter through that kind of damage? Subriel Matias is not the type of fighter that's just gonna let you walk out of that ring unscathed. You're gonna have to earn that ass whooping. I guarantee that. I guarantee it. So sometimes from the outside looking in as a coach, that's high risk. That's a really high risk because the win might not be worth it. You might take a few years off my fighter's life or even get him gun shy in his next fight from the beating that Subriel puts on them. That amount of damage, round in, round out, I for that shit. It's not, yo, thank you for subscribing to the channel. What's up? It's something that a coach also has to take in the equation. A man like that, a fighter like that, it's much more than just saying, yo, nah, that's a different kind of fight. It is, it really is. So you gotta think about that shit. And Rivera, you don't got enough fights at 140 to convince me that you fought 140 pounders. If you're going off the notion that you're fighting the guy that he didn't fight, but you're acknowledging the fact that Subriel Matias is the type of champion that honors mandatories. Instead of fighting the guy that Rivera fought, he fought his mandatory. He did what the IBF told him. Fucking champion. So you mean to tell me you're criticizing him for playing the game exactly the way it's supposed to be? You're supposed to fight your what? Number one ranked opponent. Who did he fight? His number one ranked opponent. His mandatory. He took care of business. In order to um stay champion, that's what you do. Championship. What they're saying? No, you were scared to fight the other guy. Really? What do you want to fight them both at the same time? What's wrong with you? Right? So that's their excuse. It really doesn't make sense. But I'll tell you one thing that's going to make sense, that everything that he said about Puerto Rico, Puerto Rican fighters, everything he said, none of that shit is going to fight for his son on that night. And none of the shit talking that Subriel or his side said is going to fight for Subriel on that night. These two fighters are going to stand across each other at one point in time. And I believe that, I hope on that night, both men are ready. I'm not here to take sides, and I have no horse in this race. May the best man win. All I do is I bring it to you like I see it. I cover boxing. But I promise never to be biased, but I will call bullshit for what it is. I'm not just going to sit here and hear some shit and say, wait a minute, I'll go along with that shit. No, just like Salsa. When he heard Subriel Matias say that shit out of his mouth, when he was saying some slick shit, he said to Subriel, bro, el hijo mío te pelea en la yarda de tu mai. You just said some slick shit. And Subriel said, Chico, no diga eso, o van a salir de ahí prendido. You know, meaning you and your son can get fucked up. But a line for a line. He said something, he said something. Sasa's gonna get on a fucking little interview and be like, oh, I was just trying to have a peaceful conversation with him. I'm the innocent bystander. I said nothing wrong, and he's threatening to shoot me. That's how he painted it. And I was like, bro, did you just play the victim? That's some bullshit right there. But I want to pump everybody's brakes. And if I can, I'll get a message to Subriel. Enough is enough. Cut this dude off. Hey, listen, the world knows it. The world knows it. Subriel Matias, he's established. He's fought the fights he needed to fight, and he's a champion. Your son has never fought for a world title. In fact, if your son was so good, he could have beat Frank the Ghost Martin, and he could be fighting Tank Davis for that belt. But because of the fact that he wasn't good enough to beat Frank the Ghost Martin, guess what? He has to go up into another weight division and poke the bear. He's like that fighter that feels like he was right there and that he deserves another crack at a title. He feels like maybe there was something wrong in the locker room. Maybe he wasn't 100%. But you want to know the truth to that? Did you take the fight? Did you get in the ring? You're responsible for the outcome. That's it. There has been many fighters that entered the ring, and I don't know one fighter to present day that has ever entered the ring 100%. I have never met him. We all lie, and that's all my life. Every time they ask me, are you on? Yes, I am. 100%. My fucking arm could have been broken. I'm 100 because I'm not going to pass up the fight. Now, when I lose, I got to be responsible for the loss. Does it go down on your record? Does it count? Or can you give an excuse and wipe that away? No, it's going to go down as a loss. You're responsible for that. Enough said. So Subriel Matias is not responsible for what happened to your son in that locker room. You know who was? You were. You're his father. If you loved your son the way you loved him, you shouldn't have let him fight that night. You already spent the money, didn't you? Right? You already wanted the money. And and your little greedy ass wasn't taking the punches to your face. Your son was. So while you were sitting in the chair thinking about how you spend it, your son was in the ring fighting for his life. That's what happened on that night. And now you're trying to sell us the concerned father. Oh, all I want is them to treat my son with respect. Give him more money. All I want is, to be treated equal. Give me more money. Or, it's not about the money. But I just want more money. And, look, I just want to be treated fair. Money. And, that's all my man's been showing. But listen, he got Subriel's attention. And I believe that Subriel right now is going to lock in on Liam. Liam has shown that he's an undefeated fighter. He has a WBO at least global champion. That's more than Rivera can say right now, right? And his little bullshit ass fucking that bullshit ass belt, right? That WBO global is probably better, right? You know, and he's undefeated at least. Liam, Rivera is defeated, and Liam has actually been at the 140. So, uh, look, I saw the kid Liam fight. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I got to be honest with myself in my assessment. Sometimes when I feel like I'm speaking about a fighter like Subriel, because I'm Puerto Rican, I feel like, you know, people are going to feel like I'm like really like pouring it on. But what I leave you with is, um, if I feel that way, then I would ask that you do a little homework. At least please watch Subriel Matias's highlights and then watch Liam's highlights. And you tell me about their quality in their opponents and the men that were also standing in front of them. And you do your own eye test and come up to your own conclusion. As for myself, I'm gonna take Subriel Matias in this fight. Right, right. Yeah, I'm gonna take him in this fight. And I'm gonna say it's not gonna be a knockout. It's not gonna be a TKO. No mas. He's gonna make Liam say no mas. Look, what else makes me think otherwise if the last five guys said no mas? Yo, that's not a you know how when your boy, you and your man, you on a basketball court and y'all fucking around and you tell him, yo, hit that shot. And he hits it, right? And you're like, man, that shit was luck. Hit it again. He hits it again. That still might be luck. Hit it again. If he hits that shot five times in a row, that shit ain't luck, bro. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna pick it. If you put a bet in Las Vegas, can they cover no mas? Are they starting to cover no mas? Okay, because that is an option in the fight. Because wait a minute, that's a good fucking question. If you put a bet on that night on his last fights, and you said by knockout, he technically didn't knock him out. If you said TKO, he technically did. Do you lose? Do you lose? I'm not a gambler like that, so it's just a question I want to know because I know, like in a UFC fight, you kind of got to say submission or knockout, don't you? Right? And in boxing, if you put a bet, isn't it by like decision or knockout or like rounds? If you want to get crazy, imagine that he wins the fight. Technically, the guy gets stopped, but they don't write it down as a knockout. Do you get paid? Hmm. Because I vote for no mas. I believe that's what's gonna happen in this fight. So I don't know. That's a crazy. I don't gamble, so I don't know. I don't know anything about that shit. Thank you, fight fans. Please hit them like buttons. Yo, what's up, fight fans? Hector, what up? Bam Bam, what up? Puerto Rico, Power, what's up, baby? How you doing? My man, Josh, what's up? El Casto de Boxeo. Ah, what's up, guys? What's up? Yo, so like, where were we? So now, you know, we got, Tim Tszyu. He's gonna fight this dude. We got right now Subriel Matias, he's gonna come into the fight against Liam. And there was one more thing that I really wanted to report today, or that I think I already reported it, but the mic was off. Yo, I'm like pissed with that shit still. I gotta let that go. Um, I'm really trying to find out what the hell it was. It was another fight that I was trying to lock in laser focus here. Um, there was another fight that I was impressed over the last course of the weeks too. I'm just not getting it. But anyway, fight fans, listen, man. Sorry about the mic situation, and I just hope I shedded a little bit of light on the Subriel Matias situation. Salsa's like really, he's really reaching here. And if you ask me at the end of the day, um, if you returned my phone call and you told me that you were willing to give me, you made me an offer in a crack at that IBF title when I damn well know I didn't deserve it, the conversation would have ended right then and there. I would have told my boxing promoter, take whatever he told you. I didn't give a fuck if he told me 80,000 and three flight plane tickets and you guys got to share a fucking room. I wouldn't care, because that's the honest to God truth. It's hard enough to get these champions to fight you, bro, nowadays. And if you don't got a big following, it seems like hard work and dedication, it's not paying off anymore. You gotta really talk shit and stir some shit up in order to get a fucking shot now. And the minute he would have said that, I would have never let him out of that. I would have said, "Did you just say yes? Where do I sign, bro?" And if I was daring to be great, and when you start seeing this over money, it just gets real silly, bro. And I start to question, does he really want a shot at the title? Does he? Or is he trying to be like, yo, listen, I think, son, you're going to lose, so let's get him the most money because you're about to get your ass whooped? Because he's really not sitting there taking these punches to the face. That's all I think, so yeah. Look, man, let me answer some of y'all questions. Yo, listen, belts are everything in this sport. Have you ever heard some of these boxers go on and try to talk about that shit like belts it don't mean shit? You ever heard like Ryan Garcia? You hear that kid motherfucking Keyshawn Davis try to feed y'all that bullshit that belts don't matter? If belts didn't matter, then why the fuck are you in the sport? That is the highest award in the sport. That's all that matters in the sport, right? And like when someone gives you an opportunity at a belt, yo, that doesn't come around every day. When these unboxing organizations, all they want to push out is interim titles to everybody else. Because out of the thousands and thousands of men and women that box, you mean to tell me your name got picked to fight for a world title and you started bickering over what? A couple $1,000? Bro, my man, I would have been like, you said what? You gonna give me an out for who? You fucking hell yeah, I'll fight you. You know how many men there are in one division? Thousand and something men. 1,300, thousand in one division. There are over 20,000 men currently fighting in the world. And out of those 20,000 fucking men, you mean to tell me you're in the mix to get a shot? And this is what you're fighting, arguing about? Who's scared? Who's ducking who? Who feels like maybe I should get the most money just in case I lose? Who's the one that's raising his hand? You're basically begging with class. That's all you're doing. You're begging for a shot at the title, but you're trying to be gangster about it because you're trying to jump in line. You didn't put in the work. You didn't fight your way up the division. You know what you had to do? You had to talk shit and try to discredit his name talk about his people. You had to talk shit, this much shit, that it offended him. He's in a vulnerable place, Subriel, in his point in his career. Yo, that shit, you think that fight with Max doesn't plague him every day, day in and day out? You think that shit don't plague him? And when somebody says that, yo, he just doesn't know how to play this game, bro. And he's easily the reason why Subriel Matias never answered the majority of this shit and he was radio silence in the beginning of his career. Notice all these dudes, if they ever talk shit about him, was in English. At that time, he didn't understand them. He didn't need to answer them, right? He starts to build a name for himself and starts to understand just a little bit. And he's like, what? And then when there was another gentleman of his own Latin, race, he could hear him loud and clear. When Sisa started talking shit, he turned around and was like, yo, what the fuck I do to you? Like, and he's just like, oh, we could always pop shit in boxing because that comes along with the job, doesn't it? Right? If you get offended in this sport a little too easy, you should do something else, right? But there's a few things in life you just don't talk about. Don't bring up my kids and nothing we do. My kids ain't got nothing to do with this. Don't bring up my fucking my island, my people. What did they do? Right? There's certain things you don't bring up, right? And there are certain things that sometimes we as individuals we're running from. Subriel Matias is running from that fight. And he hasn't stopped running since that night. And inside of him, every night, he closes his heart to that. When he kisses his kids goodnight, he continues to push on forward, knowing that not only did this happen on that end, but it could also happen to him. You see, every day he goes out there, fatal accident can happen to him, and his kids can lose him too as well. For all the things he's done in his life, nothing ever seemed to work. The gangs, the drugs, going to prison, being shot. The one thing you're finally good at, this happens to you, you know that you're good at this. You want to remain world champion, but he's running from that. And this asshole is going to come out and use that. Subriel Matias must learn that this is going to happen throughout his career and that other fighters are going to use this thing against him. He has to learn how to turn off the noise because if every time someone came out and said this, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Rivera, you got slick. You saw his kryptonite for this fight. He fed into some of the bullshit because Subriel has to take his side for the street. But I say, enough said. You got his attention. Stop talking, Sarsa. Please. Okay? You don't want to make this bigger than just a boxing match because there's no need for that. Let's just back up, acknowledge your son wants to fight him. He acknowledges that he does want to fight him. Acknowledge first that he has a fight in front of him. As soon as he's done with that fight, if he's successful, he will double back and him and your son can meet up. And with respect, we can leave it like this. We could, if you want to talk, like you want to punch his face in, say anything about that. No problem. But leave that other kind of shit talking over there. You don't got to do that anymore. Talk about, I feel like my life was threatened because Subriel Matias said that he was going to shoot me and my son. Subriel never said that, bro. How could you come on and say that he was going to shoot you? He just made a comment. Now you're taking this to another level. He didn't say that. You said something slick. He said something slick back. Don't make it something else. You got his attention. That's it. And I think tomorrow, um, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yo, listen, guys, man, fight fans, man. I always love chopping it up with you guys. I know that my man's gonna be dropping another video. They was in the mix of getting some things done when I left and shit. And I just wanted to get on real quick and report a couple things about the one-time Keith Thurman debacle. And I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on the Subriel thing and where it's kind of going. And sometimes when I see things like this, some fans take this real personal and they can go out in the street and hurt another person, because they're saying that they supporting their race or something out of ignorance, not knowing that these are just two fighters really wanting to build a fight, but these are two live dogs that don't want to back down. These are two alpha males. And when you get alpha males, there's no telling what they say. Sometimes some shit that they say will be offensive and hurtful to hear to others, and it'll make you feel like, man, next time I see this type of race on the street, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. No, don't ever do that, brothers and fight fans. Don't feed into that. Enjoy what we're watching. Get your popcorn. Ooh, the drama, but don't I love to talk about fighting. I love to talk about boxing, but let's keep it safe and respect one another. To the next video, fight fans. I love you guys. I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk. Yo, peace, guys. Love you guys. Armando, all you guys. Love you guys. Damn, you guys up in here chopping it up. I should just let the fucking thing run and let you guys talk. What the hell are you guys talking about? Yeah, he is. He is. Um, oh, good. When is the next one? The next one is after this one. Peace out. Yeah, man, guys. Peace, guys. Love you guys. I'm out.